Have you ever wondered why the Panama Canal might become a strategic target in a potential conflict between the USA and China? Today we're going to delve into this intriguing question and shed light on the strategic importance of the Panama Canal. Let's begin by understanding the geographical position of this waterway. The Panama Canal, a man-made marvel of engineering, is strategically positioned to connect two of the world's largest bodies of water, the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. This makes it a significant player in global maritime trade, acting as a crucial shortcut for global navigation. Imagine the vast expanse of the globe and the lengthy routes ships would have to traverse if they had to sail around the southern tip of South America. With the Panama Canal in place, this arduous journey is cut down significantly, saving not only time but also immense amounts of resources. This is why more than 14,000 vessels pass through the Panama Canal each year, carrying over 200 million tons of cargo. But the canal's significance goes beyond its role as a maritime shortcut. It has also historically been a flashpoint of geopolitical tensions. The United States, recognizing the canal's strategic importance, invested heavily in its construction and controlled it for nearly a century. Over time, it has become an essential component of the United States' strategic infrastructure, serving as a conduit for its military and trade vessels. In the context of a potential conflict with China, the canal's strategic importance is magnified. It could allow the United States to rapidly deploy naval forces between the Atlantic and Pacific, giving them a significant advantage. Conversely, if China were to gain control or influence over the canal, it could potentially disrupt U.S. military operations and global trade routes. Given its strategic location and significance, it's not surprising that the Panama Canal might become a point of contention in a potential conflict. As we move forward, we will continue to explore this topic, diving deeper into the United States' past interventions in Panama and the potential ramifications of the canal becoming a target in a future conflict. To understand the potential motivations behind the United States' strategic objectives, we must delve into the historical context. The U.S. has a long history of military interventions in Panama, with the most notable being the 1989 invasion. This invasion, codenamed Operation Just Cause, was a major military endeavor aimed at overthrowing Panamanian dictator Manuel Noriega, a former ally of the United States who had become increasingly unpredictable and uncooperative. This operation demonstrated the United States' willingness to use force to protect its interests in the region, particularly when it comes to maintaining control over the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal, a vital artery for global trade and military movement, has always been a point of strategic importance for the U.S. In the early 20th century, the U.S. even supported Panamanian independence from Colombia, largely to secure control over the canal's construction and subsequent operation. This historical precedence underscores the lengths to which the U.S. might go to safeguard its strategic interests. In the years following the 1989 invasion, the U.S. gradually handed over control of the Panama Canal to the Panamanian government. However, this doesn't mean that the U.S. has lost interest in this strategic waterway. In fact, the U.S. maintains a significant military presence in the region, ready to respond to any threats to the canal, whether they come from political instability, natural disasters, or potential adversaries like China. The 1989 invasion of Panama also demonstrated the U.S.'s capability to deploy large-scale military operations in the region, a capability that could be crucial in a potential conflict with China. The invasion was a show of force, a demonstration of the U.S.'s military might and its commitment to protecting its interests in the region. History often informs present-day dynamics, and the Panama Canal is no exception. As tensions rise between the U.S. and China, the Panama Canal, with its strategic location and immense importance for global trade, may once again become a focal point of U.S. military strategy. Only time will tell. Targeting the Panama Canal wouldn't be a simple task. It presents various economic, political, and military challenges. Firstly, let's consider the economic ramifications. The Panama Canal is a vital artery for international trade, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. A blockade or damage to the canal could disrupt global supply chains, affecting economies worldwide. Countries heavily reliant on maritime trade, like China itself, could face severe economic setbacks. On the political front, such an action could ignite a global outcry. Nations worldwide, many of whom rely on the canal for trade, could view this as an attack on international stability. The United States could face diplomatic isolation and widespread condemnation, potentially damaging its global standing and influence. Then there are the military challenges. The Panama Canal is a heavily fortified area, with the Panamanian security forces and the United Nations presence. Any military action would likely be met with robust resistance, not to mention the logistical hurdles of executing a military operation in such a geographically complex area. Moreover, a move against the canal could also escalate the conflict with China. Given the strategic importance of the canal to China's maritime trade, an attack could be viewed as a direct threat to its national security. This could provoke a strong military response, potentially escalating the conflict to a full-blown war. In addition, the United States would also have to consider the legal implications. The Torrijos-Carter treaties signed in the late 20th century handed over the canal's control to Panama. Any action against the canal could potentially be viewed as a violation of international law, further complicating the situation. In conclusion, while the Panama Canal may seem like a strategic target in a potential conflict with China, the challenges associated with such an action are immense. The economic, political, and military consequences could be far-reaching, affecting not only the United States and China, but the entire global community. The potential consequences of targeting the Panama Canal could be far-reaching and significant. Let's now dissect the possible consequences, reactions, and implications of the USA potentially targeting the Panama Canal in a hypothetical war with China. Should the USA target the Panama Canal, the reactions from global powers would be swift and diverse. Allies might support the move, citing strategic necessity, while opponents could view this as an act of aggression, leading to an escalation of tensions. Neutral nations, on the other hand, might be forced to take a stand, thereby altering the global balance of power. The impact on global trade and navigation cannot be understated. The Panama Canal serves as a vital artery for global commerce, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. A conflict involving this strategic waterway would likely disrupt maritime trade routes, leading to a surge in shipping costs and a potential global economic slowdown. This could also compel nations to seek alternative routes, such as the Arctic Passage or the Suez Canal, which would have their own geopolitical and environmental implications. In terms of military implications, a conflict over the Panama Canal would undoubtedly escalate tensions, possibly triggering a larger, more global conflict. The United States, with its advanced naval capabilities, might be able to exert control over the canal, but it would also have to contend with the prospect of retaliation from China and its allies. This could potentially lead to a prolonged and costly conflict with uncertain outcomes. Moreover, the social and humanitarian implications are profound. A conflict over the Panama Canal would not only affect the people of Panama, but would also have far-reaching consequences, affecting global communities dependent on the canal for trade, travel, and livelihood. In essence, the potential targeting of the Panama Canal by the USA in a war with China would have significant and far-reaching implications. It would not only disrupt global trade and navigation, but could also trigger a broader conflict, altering the global balance of power and potentially causing a humanitarian crisis. The implications of such a move could potentially reshape the geopolitical landscape. In conclusion, the Panama Canal holds immense strategic importance in a potential conflict between the USA and China. The canal, as we've discussed, is a vital maritime trade route and a global navigation shortcut. Its significance is amplified by the historical precedent of the United States military interventions in Panama. Restating our key points, it's clear that the Panama Canal could potentially be an attractive strategic target for the United States in a hypothetical conflict with China. The canal's control could significantly impact the dynamics of global trade and, by extension, the global balance of power. However, such a move would not come without its challenges. Economically, the disruption of trade routes could have far-reaching impacts, potentially triggering a global economic slowdown. Politically, the decision could strain relations with other countries, particularly those in Latin America. Militarily, securing the canal would likely be a complex operation, requiring substantial resources and potentially resulting in significant casualties. Moreover, the potential consequences, reactions, and implications of such a move are wide-ranging and profound. The international community's response could range from diplomatic protest to economic sanctions or even military retaliation. The impact on China's strategy and actions would be particularly significant, as they would likely seek to counteract or mitigate the effects of the canal's loss. In the broader context, these dynamics highlight the complexity and interconnectedness of global geopolitics. The Panama Canal is not just a waterway, it's a symbol of global commerce, a potential military choke point, and a barometer for international relations. Understanding these geopolitical dynamics can provide insight into potential future conflicts and their potential impact on global affairs. As we navigate an increasingly interconnected and complex world, it's crucial to consider the geopolitical implications of strategic decisions and their potential to shape future conflicts. So, as we look ahead, let's remember that the dynamics shaping our world are ever evolving, and the Panama Canal's significance in these dynamics continues to hold relevance. Understanding these geopolitical dynamics can provide insight into potential future conflicts and their potential impact on global affairs.